Welcome to Banjo Blitz. Today I have two lessons in one for you. So as usual, I'm going to show you a pattern. I'll teach it to you. But today, at the end of the video, I'm going to reveal a secret lesson that's coursing through this episode of Banjo Blitz. It's a meta lesson, a lesson about lessons, a lesson about teaching yourself how to play banjo. So stay tuned to the end. Maybe you can figure out what it is by the time we get to the end of the video. All right, without further ado, let me demonstrate the pattern. I'm going to play it at a bright tempo, then I'm going to slow it down and play it at a more moderate tempo. Then we'll take it apart and see how it ticks. Here we go. All right, nice and slow. All right, that slow version was a little bit sloppy, but that's okay. It gets you the basic idea. All right, so this is a compound phrase, a phrase that is made up of more than one little pieces. The first piece is an alternate string pull-off out of a double stop C shape, which is a mouthful, but it's less complicated than it sounds in the description. The second half of the phrase is, of course, the Galax lick. So how do we learn this? Well, we've got to break it down into its little building blocks. The first building block is that alternate string pull-off. Get into your two-finger C shape, which is just a C chord without the middle finger down. That is first finger on first fret, second string, ring finger on second fret, first string. And don't play the open fourth string because that's not in the C chord. Okay, now let's do our alternate string pull-off patterns on strings 2, 1, and 5. We're doing a downstroke on string 2, pull off string 1, get back down on string 1 with a ring finger, and a downstroke there, then a fifth string. That rolling pattern is like this. Okay, now the second half of this pattern is the Galax lick. So we get into the C shape, and there it is, Galax lick in a double stop C. Now, in order for us to combine these two patterns, we need to truncate the alternate string pull-off. So we're going to take off the latter two eighth notes. So you're just going to be playing the alternate string pull-off and not the ditty at the end. So here it is. From there, you initiate the Galax lick pattern on the open third string. But the nice thing is, because you've practiced that alternate string pull-off loop at the top of the lesson, you know that you still need to get that muscle memory is going to tell you to get that ring finger back down on the first string, which is a good instinct. Because when you initiate the Galax lick on the open third string, that ring finger needs to be planted on the second fret first string in order for you to be there on time for that arpeggio, and that'll put that arpeggio in that beautiful two-finger C shape. So all together, it looks like this. Okay, some things to note. You need to make sure that your alternate string pull-off, that pull-off is nice and sharp, it's clear, it's big. Don't let it be quiet. Use your deep listening skills. Get it to balance out with the rest of the stroke. The second thing is to make sure that that arpeggio that leads the Galax lick is articulated and it doesn't collapse into a brushy sound. You want to hear each individual note. And of course, the last essential feature of the Galax lick is that that fifth string is landing loud and proud on the downbeat. That's really important. Now, the thing that I do with the Galax lick, and you might have noticed, check this out, watch my thumb. Now, I didn't know I was doing that for the longest time until I had some students who were learning the Galax lick come back to me after having worked on it and were questioning why I did that. One even videotaped me and to prove that I was doing it every time. And of course, we talk a lot about, in Banjo Blitz, we talk a lot about intentionality and the importance of being deliberate in every musical move that you make. And was not a deliberate thing on my part, so I tried to unlearn it. I tried to purge this from my playing, my little thumb scoop when I did the Galax lick, to the detriment of my overall groove, feel, and tone. So I ended up building it back in because it works for me. And I think this is an important topic because the clawhammer stroke is really different for everybody. There are lots of right ways to do this. There are, of course, wrong ways, so don't get me wrong. You can't just play it however you want. There are some boxes that have to be checked in order for you to be playing good clawhammer. But in the good clawhammer umbrella, underneath that umbrella, there is a whole host of ways to do this, and many of them may be idiosyncratic to you. You're the only person in the world who does this one little thing that works for you. And I think instead of trying to make our clawhammer look and sound the same, we should embrace these differences and the varieties of clawhammer and just think of it as an expression of your voice on the banjo. And that's how I've come to terms with my own strange thumb scoop on the Galax lick. That said, if that thumb scoop, for whatever reason, also works for you and your body and the way you play the instrument and your expression on the instrument, feel free to steal it from me and use it. I don't know if it'll work for anybody. It has not worked for any of my students over the years, but who knows? Maybe it'll work for you. Okay, last thing is, what is this secret meta lesson that's sort of sneaking, lurking in the background of this episode of Banjo Blitz? Well, the lesson is how to bootstrap your way into learning phrases, how to reverse engineer things that sound really complicated on their face. So today we learned to take a compound phrase, to recognize that compound phrase, and then see inside it and see its component parts. So I think of Banjo Blitz very much as a dictionary where you are learning words, but you can't have a language with just words. You've got to be able to make phrases and sentences and paragraphs and stories. You've got to expand on just sort of the atomic element of a language, which is a word. Now, once you learn these words, each Banjo Blitz episode representing a word, you can start to pick out these words in more compound and complicated phrases and passages of music. So on your own time, you could hear a phrase on a record or on YouTube or watch somebody play and say, yes, that is Banjo Blitz number 18. That is all combined with Banjo Blitz 32. All I need to do is take a look at those component parts and figure out how they are being knit together. Figure out how to seamlessly sculpt them so that they are together and you don't see them as individual building blocks, but you hear them and feel them as a whole passage of musical expression. So that's the meta lesson that was kind of buried in this week's episode of Banjo Blitz. I hope that is somewhat clear. If not, of course, you can always leave comments below, ask me questions. I will answer them next week. You might want to brush off Cripple Creek. Get it out of the box, dust it off, get it ready, because we're going to learn how to do the Galax lick within a tune. We'll directly apply the Galax lick to one of the simplest tunes out there, Cripple Creek. Hopefully most people tend to learn Cripple Creek in the beginning of their banjo career, so I think the vast majority of watchers will be familiar with this tune. But if you're not, figure it out, check it out this week, and if you are, just dust it off and get it ready. Okay, I will see you next week. Have a good week.